Okay, I think I want to try and do just like a little... No intro. There's no intro. No intro. I'm absolutely not doing an intro. I'm not doing it. That is the intro. No intro. Absolutely not. Right, let's watch Florence and the Machine. Thank you for staying. Like, I actually cannot believe the amount of people that have actually stayed for this. But it is amazing. Like, I know that it's just what it's like streaming. It's what it's like live, isn't it? But anyway, let's watch Florence and the Machine do the Zane Lowe interview. I feel like it's going to be really, really intense and emotional and good. I'm excited. Oh, yeah, I should probably grab a tissue. Oh, yeah, I forgot I have to press over here. Can I hear it through my headphones still? Yes.
I've been given this enormous gift, which I wanted my whole life. You know, all I wanted to do was sing. But is that somehow going to take something else from me that I would love to have?
Congratulations, what a beautiful
She's such
and
a
heavy
sweet
and
talking
amazing
voice.
body of music.
Thank you.
I almost shy away from calling it a record
literally
because
went
that
through
would give
so
it sort
much
of
for this.
an infrastructure definition that falls into line with other records, and it isn't. It feels to me like it was just a necessity, a very important thing for you to dive into your curiosity and just learn about yourself, and a lot of life going on in this album.
Yeah, I think there was basically an urgency to this record. Like it kind of like it like came out of me in this like furious burst. And it's one of those records where if I hadn't have put it out now,
Sorry, guys. Just...
it never would have come out. Because I think I would have, like, how I felt about things is so specific to this moment in time, and this record kind of like roared out of me. And it was a record that was made almost like a coping mechanism.
I fully get that,
and I
actually.
think, as with all records, there's usually a period of time where you think it's never...
Do you know what? That's actually really interesting, saying that, like, it's very specific, and it roared out of her. Yeah, because when the album came out, I wasn't expecting it. All her albums, for me, have always seemed to be quite, like, lots of broad reasons, like loads of different reasons that didn't feel, like, ultimately very specific in the moment, quite present, you know? Whereas this one feels, it felt present, it felt specific, all of it, and she's explaining that it is, yeah.
Going to get finished or never going to get made, or, like, can't find the right, like, person to work with, or you thought you were going to work with one producer and then they're not available, and then you're like, oh God, who am I going to, like...
Yeah, you're an infrastructure, and
then you think the record is just not happening.
Yeah.
And there was this like, oh, we can delay it. I was like, there's no delaying this one. Like, it's either now or this record never comes out. I will not feel the way that I feel about this in like a couple of years. So there was this like ferocious urgency to this one. I sort of almost like made it in like a fog, I think. Like, I did think I had quite a lot. Was still like processing what happened to me, and the sort of like had like a level of PTSD that almost like when the record was finished, I was like, wait, what just happened?
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, there's a record now.
Did you get a sense of that in the writing? And I feel like listening to this album, it's almost like you restrain yourself from performing these words sometimes, and just speaking them is enough. They you hush them in. You find ways for the words to really hold the attention. And so was this just a process of writing before you even thought about like what it would do from a song per se?
Yeah, I mean, that is sort of my, it's kind of my process.
Can I just say, I've never really seen a lot of Florence talking before, and I cannot believe how soft-spoken she is. She is absolutely like a little fairy in the way that she speaks. And she's sort of, she's very sort of, oh, yes. It's actually lovely. Such a sweet voice and speaking voice, and such a powerful, powerful singing voice. It's like, wow, how does that come out of her? Incredible. And everything she's saying so far, I just like fully understand. Her saying about like this sort of PTSD fog, in a way, like making this music was obviously, it was truly part of healing for her, but that some of the greatest magic happens in those moments, like, and like she's saying, she didn't even realize until afterwards that like, oh wow, there's a whole album. But that will be something beautiful born from something painful. And in fact, it might end up being a record that she finds hard to listen to at some point. Once she's fully healed and out of it, in some ways it might be like, oh, it's kind of hard to listen to actually, because of how sad I was feeling at the time or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, literally. Speaks like a kitten, sings like a tiger. Wow, crazy. That is actually insane. All right, let's keep going.
Says, I think a few of them were written in the room, but mostly my process is like having a lot of words. Like I feel quite strange if I come to the studio without words. Like it usually what compels me to go into a studio is I have a whole song written out, or I think I had one of the greats. It's like really long poem that I started writing on tour. And
that makes sense.
And
that
actually,
makes a lot
I
of
started
sense.
sharing a notes app with Mark Bowen from Idols, and yeah, I think things started getting added to there.
Idols?
It was like one of the greats.
Wait.
Kraken. I had Buckle.
That song was written with
walking
Idols?
around, and the only thing that was on that thing that we really didn't have was a song for Everybody Scream.
She
I just
really
had
is
the title.
everything.
So it was like Florence and the Machine, Everybody Scream, like song to come, but this is the song.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I do have a tendency to start with words, and then sometimes that can actually be kind of hard because it's like then structuring almost like it's so set in what it is, like that finding what it is musically can be sometimes tricky. You're like, oh, okay, this song is like fully formed, but what the fuck does the music sound like?
It actually makes total sense because when I listen to your music and I feel like I said, the arrangements are really always following what it is you're saying. And I know that seems like an obvious thing to say, but I don't.
Right, sorry guys. I'm trying to just very quickly, I want to get the chat box. Can you see the chat? You can see the chat, can't you, right here? Just want to make double sure. Arms outstretched back from the dead, streetlights burning. Okay, good. It feels like it's not showing up for some reason. Is it? Wait, someone say something. Someone say something. We can't be doing this, but oh yeah, it is working. I'm sorry, I'm being crazy. It's very tiny, but it's fine. Let's keep going. I'm actually really enjoying this so far. Like literally already, I'm like getting into it. It is only briefly there though, isn't it? Wait, I think I've made it a bit better though. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. On my end anyway. Yeah. Okay. Right, I am really enjoying this though. Like already, like literally already feel very like I'm liking what's been said. I'm going back just a little bit. Let's keep going.
And then sometimes that can actually be kind of hard because it's like then structuring almost like it's so set in what it is, like that finding what it is musically can be sometimes tricky. You're like, oh, okay, this song is like fully formed, but what the fuck does the music sound like?
It actually makes total sense because when I listen to your music and I feel like I said, the arrangements are really always following what it is you're saying. And I know that seems like an obvious thing to say, but I don't think it is. Sometimes people go in and there's already a structure and then they just hum a melody and it's subconscious.
No,
They put the
and
words
I've seen like I'm really fascinated to see people who sing gibberish and do the melody first, and I'm like, I think it's quite rare for me. I think I've only done that like once or twice. It's quite rare for me to do that. Like usually there is a story or a poem that has taken shape, and that's what I'm kind of coming into the studio with. And then you have to like create the cinema, you know? You have to like, with the music, create the visual of what that song is saying.
You said you wrote one of the greats, or started at least, a poem you were writing when you were on tour. That song is hilarious.
Interesting. So when I'm making something, because I do all the production as well on my own, like I do everything on my own, and obviously I don't release loads of music, so you don't even know You're probably thinking, Fern, you don't even make music, but I do. It's just secret music. Anyway, I always like start with some, I might have some words in mind. It depends on what I'm feeling, right? But sometimes I don't have a feeling, and then I need to like start making the production first, just to like see where my body and mind takes me with the production. And then I'll think of like some themes that I've been feeling or thinking or wanting to write about, and then I'll start writing. Or it can go the way where it's like, it is a lot of the time I'll write a poem, and then from my poems, that will influence a song.
And caustic and defiant and vulnerable and all of these things that I hear in it, at least, which is just this kind of like, you know, stream of consciousness of sort of,
Stream of consciousness rant, like,
you know, like, fuck you and I'm awesome, but man, maybe I'm not awesome enough, and how do I get awesome? And it's awesome.
but I hate you, why don't you fancy me?
100%. So what's going on in the middle of tour, or when you're on tour, where that comes to mind and you have this feeling of sort of inadequacy meets defiance?
Yeah, I think that is like, I think it sums up the song quite well. The song is constantly throwing itself under the bus as well. It's like, I'm this, I'm that, you know, like,
Yeah.
and about the cycle of like, I'm the best, I'm the fucking worst, I'm the best, which I think is part of making things, you know. I think I do a lot of writing on tour actually, because I like to write while I'm in motion or daydreaming, and there's like dead time. And yeah, I was thinking about greatness and like the cost of greatness, and how every album I'm like, I'm going to be satisfied with this one. I'm going to be completely satisfied. I'm going to have no issues with it. And how it almost like never happens, you know? And then
Yes.
at the cost of greatness as well. And I guess it was processing like, I feel like it was like, well, maybe I got there, but like at what cost as well? Like what cost to my sanity and to my life and to the other lives I could have had. And it was sort of about the brutality of ambition and the almost like violence of greatness as well. The things that you put yourself through and that you put your loved ones through to like get there, you know, like every interaction or like, you know, moment is sort of like fodder for the song, you know, like you miss all these family moments, and it feels like this relentless thing of just like forgetting how hard it is, forgetting how you're never satisfied, and every time a tour and an album is over being like, I'm gonna do it again. And this one will be the one, like it, like
Wow.
I will be happy, it will be perfect, you know.
I will be happy.
And
It
I
will be
don't think
perfect.
when you're young and like people aren't taking you seriously, you don't really think it's because you're a young woman. You just think it's you, you know, like you just think it's because you're annoying or you're too much or you're like, and it does really hurt early, because I see it happen now to others, and I'm like, oh, it wasn't about you, you know, because it just feels like this cycle. But I think it happens to a lot of artists, but it seems like it happens quite particularly to young women, where they are suddenly blasted into the public sphere. And then everyone tells you that you don't deserve to be there. And like, I think like lungs exploding when I was that young, you know, you can't help but sort of absorb and feel like sort of, like you get the big thing, but it comes at this thing of like, which is public exposure, and you're pushed in everyone's faces in a way that sometimes it feels like young women are just kind of eaten, you know what I mean? Like devoured. And
you know, it's interesting that she says this, because this is the very, very same reason that like, I've said this before, but I'm genuinely happy that like, there's like 12 viewers here, right? Yeah, that's not to say that I wouldn't like to have 50 viewers at one point, right? But the bigger and bigger you get, and how immediate, if I can't imagine it being where like I made one reaction video, like my first reaction video, and it got 100,000 views, even 200,000 views, right? And then suddenly I'm thrown in, and then suddenly like all this big influencer life, you know what I mean? That to me sounds like hell. It just does. I love having an online presence. I really do. But I know that for a woman in the industry, and being a singer, obviously, it's different as well, and whatever, but also being an influencer, or like, you know, someone who makes videos, it's also bad, like the cancel culture and just like people rummaging through like your life and anything. Like just now when I accidentally, like, I showed like my WhatsApp, right? It was so brief, and I shouldn't even be saying it again. We all forgot about that. But like, if this was a bigger community, that would have been really, really fucking stupid of me. And it was stupid of me anyway. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't believe any of you would do anything about that. But I'm just saying, like, if it was a bigger community, they would. And I really shouldn't be bringing that up. I'm not even good at this. I would have doxed myself so terribly if I, like, but that's the danger of it, right? You know what I mean? Like, some people can end up putting themselves in danger because they're not used to this sort of life. Yeah, but it's crazy.
And so you're sort of like pushed in front of people too much, and then everyone is like, well, actually, no, you're terrible, like, go away, you know? So it just feels like this crazy thing happens to you that...
Oh, what am I like?
For me, I think I got, which I'm so, you know, on some level, I'm so grateful for, because I still have this amazing life, and I have the people that have been with me since the beginning, but it felt like I got all that attention young and then spent the next 15 years trying to prove I deserve it.
That's how you cope?
Yeah.
Or tried to cope, is just by keep going and trying to prove
I'll
it.
prove that that moment, that I was worthy of that moment, you know? So it's like, did I get it right? Do I win the prize, you know?
Has this album has it broken the spell of that?
A little bit, maybe a little bit, you know, because I think it was also, you can't help but just like absorb the feeling that maybe you're not good enough, or you're not like, because you're not to some people's taste, that there's something like wrong, or you need to change, or whatever. Like, you can't help absorb that when you're young. And I do think like,
hard.
I do think I've had some sort of revelation just through keeping on making work.
Yeah.
And seeing the people that come to my shows, and now honestly having like younger people find my work and find the biggest, craziest songs I've ever made and love them, like love them. So I'm like, oh my God, there was like, I was doing something that people loved, you know, like it feels like, I think more and more people kind of discovering it has almost like soothed so much of that early like shame about how big I was and how kind of like expressive I was. So that's been like really healing, and I think I'm realizing that, oh, it's for them, and for the people who it's not for, it's just not for them, and that's okay, and I don't have to please them. And I think I've said that every time I've made a record, where I'm like, I don't care about what people think, but I think this is the only album where I genuinely like don't, because of what it cost me. You know what I mean? I'm just like, it cost me so much to make this album. Like, the people who it's not for, like, that's okay. You know, like, I know who it's for now. And I think that has changed.
Can I ask you, when you say what?
I feel like you have to be so strong as an artist to like keep going. You know, when you first release an album, you go into it with so much like, yay, I can't believe it, I made this. You are so excited, you cannot believe you've done it, you're happy with what you made, to, you know, a degree, and you also believe that maybe someone would like it more than you do, because you're self-critical. Because if you're so self-critical that you're like, oh, you know, I'm being self-critical, so I'm sure other people will like it. So then when you get some people really, really shit all over it, it's like devastating. And I remember when I made my first album in uni, and it was like I'd only been producing for like 7 to 8 months, and my own like teacher, like the guy who was grading it and everything, he was like hyping me up so much throughout. And then like he was like, it was his first time being a teacher, a uni teacher, lecturer, whatever you want to call it, as well, that year. And he was harsh on everyone's work, but he was like really nasty about my work. Like, it was like this weird, it felt very odd. I didn't even go to graduation because of it, because it hurt so much. And then like afterwards, it completely knocked my confidence in making music, even to this day. And I'm 30 now. Like, that was when I was like 22, 23. And yeah, it's still, I've only just really gotten to a point where I'm like, you know what, it's okay. I'm just going to release what I like, and I'm going to release something at the level that I can make something too. You know, like, I'm not amazing. I'm not a massive producer. I'm not a, you know, I'm not a Jack Antonoff. I'm not a Max Martin. You know, I'm me, and I'm doing it from my bedroom at home and from what I've taught myself. And I'm going to release it at the level I am, because it's brave, because it's fucking brave, and it's something I want to do. And you know, it's just inspiring hearing this, because it is scary, but it's brave. I know, really not. I know it makes me sad when I think about what he did. Like, I'm literally like, you know, nervous with my hands right now, because it like hurt me. And I'm not fucking around. I'm not like bitter or like, you know, like, oh, you know, he just graded it bad. No, like, he was genuinely, he wrote, like, he was saying like he was disappointed in me and everything. I can't even think about it. It gets me emotional. But I understand. I can't even imagine. Yeah, this is just. I don't know. It's making me think about it.
What cost me? When you say cost, where did it come from?
Well, it's been really interesting. Like, yeah, it was really interesting. I think like the last record was like, do I want to have children? Like, there was a song called King where it was like, do I want to be a mother? Like, is that even, like, can I see myself in that role? Like, I want it, but I'm also defiant of it. And then I think I kind of came to the end of that tour, and I don't know, I felt this like freedom and excitement, and there was a feeling of, I did want to, like, you know, I wanted to see if I could try and have a family, you know, after the tour. The tour was like winding down. We
Guys.
only had a month left to go. And
It's too sad. I'm like really getting
yeah,
sad
then I
already.
ended up, which was really wild because, I mean, I do talk about the prescience of songwriting sometimes, but there was this line in King which was like, I never knew my killer would be coming from within. And it was a song about like motherhood. And, you know, I have spoken in the past about the sort of strange, like subconscious prescience of songwriting. But then I actually ended up having a ectopic miscarriage on stage that was dangerous and that I had to be hospitalized for. And I had to have immediate surgery because I had like I had a Coke can of blood in my abdomen, and I didn't want to go to the scan because I just wanted to keep touring. And I was like, I've been through many physical things on stage. I can get through this. And they were like, no, you're coming in to have a scan. And then I was immediately taken into surgery. And I was like, and then I went back on stage 10 days later and like was singing that song, in this like, I don't know how I did that. I think I was just in like a total fog at that point.
Because
Do you think you were just trying to cope? Was that what going back on stage was? Because obviously there would have been people around you that would have given you the grace required to process.
Yeah, I think I didn't want to end the tour. Like, I had 2 shows left. And I was like, that's why I was like,
she didn't want to let something so
I was
dark
like, I can't,
get in
I
the
don't
way.
want to, I have something has been taken from me that I didn't want to happen. I don't also want to end my whole tour that I like on this,
Yes.
And yeah, I just like went back and played. It's also going back to the only place that I feel like I could really like feel a sense of control and power again. Like ectopic pregnancies are really painful. And before I did the gig, when I didn't know that that's what was happening to me, I was in a lot of pain. And yet I stepped onto the stage and I felt it all just went away. You know, it all went away, like all the pain went away, and there was wind blowing, and I was like, whatever is here, it's going to carry me through this moment. And I did. I felt like this presence that's always been with me on stage, like just. And it was outside, it was by the sea, the wind was blowing. It was very gothic. It was like a white lace dress, but really like all the pain just like went away. And I was, you know, I just was there and in the mud and the rain and with like these people, and I didn't feel anything, you know. And so, and then, you know, so to kind of then go back to the stage just makes sense to me. You know, I kind of want to go back to this place that like, it's weird, isn't it? Because it's like, you'd think something really terrible happening to you would make you not want to go back. But I'm like, no, it's like, it kind of left me more in awe of the power of performance and the power of songwriting than I kind of ever have been before, if you know what I mean, like of how powerful it can be. So yeah, there wasn't really any like doubt in my mind that I would go back and do.
I haven't even gone through that, but I know exactly what she's saying, and you know, I'm definitely not going to be going into it fully, but yeah, you get it. It's like, we all know what it's kind of like to just want that thing that just, it doesn't matter what you're going through. It's her release. To be on the stage, it's where it's home. She has got control over it. There is a power in it. There's an energy. There's something beautiful to it. It's her. It's her healing. It's her medicine. It's all of that. Yeah, it is that confusion of like, but also this could have been the very thing that kind of took me away from having a family, and also maybe, yeah, anything really, but I'm like myself, I'm back here with you guys after my health situations and the pain I feel, and I feel pain every day, all day. But I do just feel like it can be put on the back burner when I'm streaming, and so I'm really liking the streaming and making videos too, but more so when I'm streaming, I found, because it's like the community of it, the talking, the silliness, the fun is so like, it feeds me, and I do find that is really helpful. So, but it's funny because making videos and doing this was also the same thing that burnt me out and also didn't help with my illness and my mental health and everything like that. But I came back to it. And because I love it, you know, and it does feel magical, and even better now I'm streaming. So yeah, there's evolution in it too.
Those two shows,
so sorry
you
for
know,
her,
that's
God.
how I wanted to end the tour. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Life is fucking crazy.
It's crazy. It's
Life is
really crazy. And it's like creepy. I'm just like, oh no, man, don't like let that bit come true. That's yeah, you know, like I'm like, that's creepy. I don't like it.
The whole dance fever of it all, though, as you rightly pointed out, was, I'm sure you probably thought at the time, well, you tell us, did you think like, okay, this is me actually coming to terms with this part of my life, and trying to process like, at what cost, right? How much do I put on into this versus this other side of life, which I really, maybe I want to explore.
Yeah.
And then you find yourself making everybody scream like, oh, I guess this isn't done. Like, I've still got to figure stuff out.
I saw a like trauma specialist who, she was like, sometimes the instinct to try and like move past a loss like this is to just try again really quickly. And some people do just do that, but she was like, my advice to you would be, do not try again until you feel like yourself, you know? And so the place that I feel myself is kind of making work. You know, it's kind of the only thing that it's how I've sort of processed everything in my life, is to, if I can create I don't know, I guess this album is my most personal, but it's also one of the like most mythological as well.
What is Aurora? Not Aurora. God, what's Florence's star sign again? I feel like I've looked it up before, but I don't know it now. Because she gives like major Pisces with Taurus energy, but it's not literally overly important. Just wondered. Let me know if you know. Oh,
Curious.
Yeah.
Deeply curious.
Yeah, I think there was something, it was so
Virgo.
kind of bodily
Okay.
what happened to me. And I also, if I'd gotten on the plane
Is she a
to
cusper?
play that festival,
Leo,
which you
Virgo.
know, I'm just like a machine. I'm like, no, I can fucking do it. I can do it. I'm such a hypochondriac. Like, as I've said, I'm always like demanding to be taken to the hospital when nothing is happening to me. I'm like, I need to go. I need to go now. They're like, you're completely fine.
Yeah.
Actually, when something really bad was happening.
You know what Virgo makes total sense to? It's that work thing, and then she's also got that really put together, like even though she's flowy and witchy, she is still kind of like perfect in everything she does, and everything she talks about trying to be the best and all that, you know, one of the greats, or trying to outdo yourself more and more. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
Happening to me. It's
I'm a
serious
Capricorn,
what happened
so
to me, and I think if I'd gotten on the
sign.
plane to that festival, they were like, you would have come off on a stretcher or worse. So, but I was totally like that morning, I'd just gone to get a coffee. I was like, I'm going to be fine. And I was like, there's this thing that I think some of the themes that I went to in terms of like, it became so much about like life and death and earth and nature, because I was like, oh, death is just a doorway. Like I was oblivious to it, but it was just there.
Well, we're such delusional creatures, right? And that's what keeps us going, because it's so
Oh yeah, I was
Like, you know, when she goes, I'm powerless, don't remind me. I'm powerless, oh, don't remind me. The way she does that in that song is so, like, touching, and, like, it hits hard. And I don't know why, but sometimes I think of myself as a bit of a liar, because you know how, like, people who are skeptical of, like, ghosts often seem to be the ones that are more scared of ghosts if they were to be in a haunted situation, or they don't like ghostly horror movies, right? And those who do believe in ghosts are more intrigued by it, right? Me, who I often say I'm a nihilist, I think it's because I don't want to believe, I don't really want to think about death that much, in a way. Maybe it's hard to, like, I feel like there's such a barrier up now that I don't even know if I believe that, but it could still be true. But then why would a line like, I'm powerless, oh, don't remind me, why would that touch me so deeply if I'm such a nihilist? You know? Maybe it's because I feel sad and I remember what it felt like. I remember what the switch felt like, from one day being like, oh, I can't even think about death, that's so scary, to the next day being like, oh, well, everyone dies. You know, I remember the switch and grief being the switch. So maybe it's just something like sad that I don't want people to be nihilist. So when I hear her say, I'm powerless, don't remind me, it's like I feel she went through the switch, or she is going to go through the switch or something. I don't know. Hopefully that makes sense. It's just sad. Anyway.
So much chaos.
I think it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, and we
was so
completely
emo
ignored
of
it. There's
me.
death around us all the time.
Yeah.
Like they're just leaves on the ground. No, they worked really hard to grow to a point of completion, to drop off, and now we just sweep them away like it's nothing. And yet when it comes down to our own existence, we become, it's like a all-consuming
I was just like,
experience.
off to get a coffee. And also just like a sense, there is a feeling when you're coming to the end of the tour, because I'd also broken my foot and played through it. You know, like I'd broken my foot. I tried to play through it.
What, you broke it on stage?
I broke it on stage.
How?
Yeah, actually, I've never broken anything on stage. It's traversing on and off. Like, So I just like ran too fast to get back on the stage, and I hit my foot against a step and cut it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Ow.
I think I'm okay. I think I can just get through this. And I looked down at my foot, and there was just like a pool of blood. So I was like, oh no, is this a bad one? And then when I looked at the blood slightly like bubbling up through the toes, I was like,
Yeah, it's
fuck.
a lot.
And then they
Ew.
were like, there's so much like, there was like viral footage of the Portex coming on and like having to like mop up the blood from the stage. We were like, it took them ages. But basically, I went off, had it checked. They were like, you wouldn't be able to move. You know, it's a weird thing with me where people are usually like, you should be in more pain, so you're probably fine. But it's that strange like adrenaline mixed with a strange sort of like physical toughness.
Yeah.
But it's weird because I can't see like one like vaguely mean comment and not weep. Like I'm not like, it's weird. I'm like tough in some areas and very sensitive in others.
Yeah, there is definitely a defiance. I think even when you're not breaking your feet or going through really traumatic situations in life and still returning to the stage to perform, let's honor those as really intense life experiences. But from the minute we saw you perform, even as a young person, there was a defiance I always felt on stage of like, I will perform this with everything that I have.
No, it is like it's almost like I'm like, well, I'm not responsible for what she does. I don't even know what's going to happen.
You disassociate a little bit?
Well,
The
it
4 out
is a
of 5
surrender. I think
situation.
people often ask me like, do you have any spiritual
Horrid.
practices? And I do think it's probably
literally broke her
the
foot, dude.
performance is the sort of place where I feel like I do just try and I surrender to something kind of other than me. And it does tend to like allow you to do slightly like inhuman feats, I think.
I'd love to talk a little bit about some of the environments that you were drawn to in order to process, or to write, or to just express. I know that you went and did research at the Warburg Institute, which is super interesting.
Yeah, they have like, that's the biggest occult library in Britain, I think.
And obviously like super fascinating to be able to go back and trace the lineage of image and art and the way
symbolism
that and how it ties us all together.
Sorry, I was just having a bit of a daydream because I was thinking about how how when she's writing a song, she's probably always thinking about how that song is going to be live. And then this feels like a really obvious thing to say, but I just thought of it like, so every song we ever hear on any album, you can guarantee that she has thought about how that will sound live before even deciding that that's going to be a real song, because she does so much live stuff and she is so good live that like she's probably thinking, oh, this will be good for this moment. Oh, we're going to have a real big one here. And then sometimes you might be like, right, I need to have a few chill ones. I can't be going that hard. I need to chill out a little bit over here. You know what I mean?
And did research at the Warburg Institute, which is super interesting.
Yeah, they have like, that's the biggest occult library in Britain, I think.
And obviously
cool.
like super fascinating to be able to go back and trace the lineage of image and art and the way
symbolism
and how it ties us all together, even though if you look at society today, we couldn't feel like we're further away from that. But that must have been very interesting for you just to kind of connect the dots to some degree as a modern person diving into old practice.
I felt so out of control of my body. It was interesting. I looked into like themes of witchcraft and mysticism and everywhere that you looked in terms of birth or stories of birth, you came across stories of like witchcraft and folk horror and myths, and it just felt like it
deeply misunderstood as well. Like...
Yeah. Well, you know, obviously some of the first women tried as witches were midwives. Some of the first women tried as witches were just because they owned property. It was just like, usually they had something that people wanted, so they like had property or land or so they were like, But it was also a lot women living a non-traditional.
As you rightfully said, it would be nice if men found power sexy. Right?
So you have way too many sheep, which so I mean, I did end up just like boiling kind of almost like cauldrons for myself full of herbs, and I needed natural ways to heal as well as the medical things. There's almost just like a sense of trying to find a different, I don't know, yeah, I think it was looking into forms of power, you know.
You know, there's almost a timeline here, and maybe at least for me, with Everybody Scream, beginning is this idea of like performance and connection, but also what you're going through, and the list at the end of the things, you know, that saved you ultimately, which was like the spell.
I'm sorry, I keep pausing a lot, but well, that's what I meant to do anyway. I'm reacting to it, but it keeps just really reminding me of myself, and like I'm not even trying to make it about myself, but I suppose when you watch things like this, you relate, don't you? So then you think about your things. I just found that really, really interesting, her saying about how ways of how to like almost find power and so on. Because when I first got diagnosed, well, everything started with my functional neurological disorder, I got like so down, like it was so down that, and then, but I was also doing like inner healing work in my inner child, and it was really strange and really like, I don't know how to explain it. I'm not even going to, but it was very. Okay. Scrap that, but not scrap it, but at the same time. But anyway, I got into like fairies, right? And it's because when I was a kid, I used to be called Fairy Fern. That was my nickname, right? So again, I was trying to find that like sort of light joy, and I made a whole world in my head of the different fairies. One being Fairy Fern, which is a child version of me. One being Fairer Fern, which is like the adult version of me, but as a fairy and sort of like the mother. And then Foggy Fern, who was like the one that would like feel sadness and pain and would sort of like pull all the fairies into a dark cave and like would have a storm around her, you know, and no one could reach her. But Fairer Fern would try and send signs to her, like little bits of love and compassion to get her out, to stop the whirlwind and to like get them out the cave. And when Fairer Fern could be about, Fairy Fern could be about, the little child version, like she was safe. It was just me trying to understand my like psyche and trauma and stuff, but it was all in like a fairy way. And I was also imagining like making up concoctions. I was doing so much tarot. I was like doing lots of crystal work. I was doing so many like spells and potions and wishes and prayers as some sort of power, and almost like, yeah, I was also looking for power. That's insane. How unbelievably relatable.
The injections and
Yeah.
all of it rolled into
Yeah,
this
they did.
experience.
Whenever I'm in like the deepest of darkest of places, there will always be some sort of creative way for me where I'm able to like get through it. And it sounds like Florence is the exact same, if I'm honest.
That was it. It was the whole, like, I needed it all.
Yeah, I know. I
You
should
know,
kind
I
of
did. I needed it all.
draw them
and
or something. I don't know. My daughter
but the
should. She's good
scream
at
of
drawing.
it, you know, the scream at the kind of unfairness of it as well, and the fury, and like, I think I never felt that there were barriers to me, honestly, as because of my gender. Like, I just didn't feel them. I feel like I just blasted through like thing after, you know, I was just like, no, I'm just like
Defiance again.
yeah, I just like blasted through it, and it was sort of only when it came to wanting to have a family that I was like, oh fuck, this is going to be different for me. And like kind of the fury at the unfairness of that. And also the sense that like when I tried,
They
the
do
violence
deserve to
of
be
which I was
seen.
shut out from it. You know, it's like, oh, have I been given this gift, like this enormous gift, which I wanted my whole life, you know, all I wanted to do was sing. But is that somehow going to take something else from me that I would love to have, you know? So
Wow.
I did, it's the scream, I think. I think it is a sort of like cruel age
Florence
in
would
lots of ways, you know,
definitely
going
be a
for,
brilliant mother as
35
well. Just
to
know she
40 for
would.
women, because it's like you're
She's all
coming
of our mother.
to the peak of your powers, or like as a professional or as a creative, and at the same time, there is a sense that you're running out of time to have the other things you might want, you know, like family or something else. And I do think that sometimes that feels like a scream.
There's a moment on the record where you talk about Death's Kiss, which is very moving. And this moment when, and it's almost like you're embracing it in that moment because it either feels or breathes like life. I can't remember the exact lyric, but
Yeah, and it tastes like life.
Tastes like life,
Oh, that
thank
was
you.
that. I really like.
Zane is such a good interviewer.
Because the closest I came to death was like wanting to make life, you know, and you don't get that without desire. And there was a lot about desire and like where was this feeling going to lead me? And it did feel really magical, you know, like when I was really excited. I think that sometimes the sadness to me is like it did feel magical. I was really excited to, you know, try and start a family. I had wrestled with it. I had wrestled with it on King. I had wrestled with it in Dance Fever, and it felt like this like exciting moment. And it was almost like it so quickly. My mind went quite badly wrong quite fast, you know. So it's almost like there's been a bit of that. It's that sort of grief that experience has sort of been like taken from you, you know, to the sort of sense of being like, oh, let's just see. I'm like, no, that's gone now. Like, but I think what I wanted this record to be is not just a scream, but like an embrace. You know, I think the only thing that goes, the kind of gift in going through something awful is that you can embrace someone who's been through it too, you know? And I think like, it's almost like I had this feeling like I wanted to just put my arms around anyone who had experienced something like this, you know? And I think that is almost like what songwriting is to me. It's about making connection and being able to embrace someone even though you're not physically with them.
what was it like actually performing these songs to tape or into the grid or whatever you had to do to capture them? Because it's one thing to write them, it's another thing. Like Perfume and Milk is one of my favorite songs on the record.
That's so...
Zane,
And it's interesting because
me
I do feel like this album
too.
almost goes in movements.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's everybody scream
Sure.
into one of the greats.
After this, I wasn't able to hear You Can Have It All for days because of verse 1. Okay, yeah. Oh, God. But in Perfume and Milk, that one is one of my favourites, but every time I'm listening to it, I'm like, why is this one of my favourites? Like, not in a mean way, it's one of my favourites for crying out loud, but it's one of those ones where it's like, it's definitely like the most chill one on the album, but it's like so atmospheric and like meaningful, and I just really get it. And like, I really hate, like, I don't know what it is, I just feel like this album, whether it's like if you've gone through anything big and something that is like feels like grief, this is the album for you. Like, this is an album for a lot of people because a lot of people have experienced grief, and it doesn't mean that it has to be as specific as an ectopic pregnancy. It's just like something out of the blue, bam, tragic happening, and like I just cannot help but relate to everything she is saying here. All relating to my illness, all of it. Just put it that way. Everything she's saying, I'm relating to it because of my illness and how that like was like boom and took honestly so much from me. Number one, my independence. Number two, my ability to go to the gym. Number three, my ability to travel anywhere on my own. My, you know, just so many things I can't eat or touch or do now. It's crazy, and I had to grieve so much of it. And yes, oh my God, it's just so powerful. Perfume and Milk is incredible. It's incredible. I love that song.
So
Yeah,
sort of like, all
let's see
right,
what Zane
like
says.
I'm kind of still trying to figure out what defiance means from a performance point of view and how it relates to what happened after. And then we get into the whole spiritual curiosity of it all, like, you know, which is dance, you know,
Sympathy magic.
sympathy magic.
Yeah.
And then we get into like the healing almost, where it's like Perfume and Milk.
Yeah.
You know, and so what was it like actually recording, like, say, Perfume and Milk? Because that song to me is like obviously the connection to nature, the idea of healing through being close to other things that grow and fall and soil and returning to the
Yes.
earth?
I think it's interesting because that song was actually the furthest from the event. That was like 2 years, I think, from, yeah, 2 years from like when it happened. And so it was like
Wow.
it was like
That's crazy.
processing. It was about healing and like having watched seasons change and having watched other things like, you know, growing and then returning to the earth, and a sense that like I was also part of that like nature and part of that
Yeah.
cycle, and but that that also it was a real song about like healing wasn't linear, you know, as I was
Yeah,
trying to
that's what
tie
I
up
was
the
thinking.
album, a lot of
Like, you know, her being like the world turns and then like the seasons are changing. Everything's actually moving faster than her healing. On, you know, some days it can feel, your healing can feel really long. Some days you can feel like you're bouncing in like leaps and bounds, and suddenly you feel like you're not moving at all.
almost like the feelings would suddenly randomly come back. I'd get randomly completely terrified again, or I would get like, or I would just suddenly be like, it's happening again, it's happening again, it's happening. You know, like I would get suddenly like completely terrified. So it was sort of like looking as like healing is slow, it comes and it goes. Like, and I was like, oh, like it really, it is slow a process. And, you know, sometimes something would trip me up and I would feel like I was just like back in that terror. This record, I really just got so much like healing, I think, just from being in like nature. And obviously Aaron's studio is in Hudson Valley in upstate New York, which is like and I stayed in a little house. It was very like The Witch at the Edge of the Woods. Like I stayed in a little house on the edge of town, and I like finished the record with Aaron, and it was a sense that like I was like as I was having to kind of look at how I'd heal, look at the songs that I started the record with, look at how it was going to end, and like, yeah, like piece myself together, you know? And I wanted to put in lots of natural flora and fauna on this record from like, we looked into a lot of like folk songs as well, because there's that amazing period of 70s folk where they're all like into the occult, you know, like Judy Sill, and there's an amazing book called Electric Eden, which is like how when like folk and mysticism all started crossing over. And so we were looking a lot of that at that period of time as well. And yeah, I was just like exploring all these different themes. But yeah, that song kind of came out of like those kind of things.
Can we talk a little bit about like,
You know, here we go again, but so when I was going through like the part with the fairies, when I was away with the fairies, should we say, I was feeling really like I wanted to get out of where I was, and I just needed to feel like I wanted to manifest, because when I would get into a deep panic, like she was talking about, she kept getting like moments of terror, right? I still get them too. I still get moments of terror now. I'm still healing, but also I'm in something that like can't be healed until it's healed, until it's done, because I'm still going through so much like tests and stuff. But anyway, when I was in the first sort of like stages, so like the fairy bit, like that was more like whatever. There wasn't stages. It was just like when I was in this part, when I was thinking about the fairies, I would have moments of deep panic and existentialism and terror, and like, you know, I'm like, what if I have a big tumor on my brain? What if it's like, you know, fear and like existentialism? So I just started looking at cottages, just because I kept like taking myself to a place where I could close my eyes and just see this glowing sunlight come through a kitchen window, and all the like walls in this kitchen were like this cream yellow, and it was like wooden like cabinets, and it was cozy, and there was another window on the other side with like a little dining table, and like these, like, you know, like the pale see-through curtains, like everything was just so light inside, warm wood colours though, and I could see myself making up concoctions of like potions and stuff while my daughter was sat at the table. I was thinking of these things while I was in hospital as well, trying to make nice stories for myself. I could even imagine myself like with this friend who was a guy, and he had like antlers, and he was like a protector, and Like, I was imagining like little lanterns outside and these just beautiful places that I would go to just to like breathe. And there would be times where these places would turn scary in my mind because my body was just too deeply like frightened that like they would turn scary, and it would feel like it was really infiltrating my sacred space. But most of the time it was like just gorgeous. So what I did was I looked online at like, just wanted to look at cottages just to like put it in my mind. Like, I wanted to manifest a place like that where I could live in the future, somewhere for me to be safe and happy. And basically I just came across this unreal looking cottage, like this fairy tale cottage in the middle of the woods, and you could rent it to stay in. And I was like, what? Like, this is crazy. And I'm reading all like the reviews and reading all the things about it. And deer basically come and visit every morning and night. It is literally on the edge of town. It's in the middle of nowhere, really. And it's like literally surrounded in woods. And it's like a thatched roof cottage. It's actually genuinely like a fairy tale cottage. And I've rented it for 4 nights or 3 nights, I think, at the start of December. And then, you know, so that basically I rented it for me, my daughter, my sister, and my best friend all to stay in, just for like a cozy sort of Christmas fairy place. And in a way, it's like at the time when I booked it, I was like, you know, well, at least I'm gonna definitely stay alive because I want to go to this cottage. It's really important to like book things and like have things to look forward to when you're not doing well, because sometimes like that's the thing that keeps you going. But the craziest thing is I've got my ear scan thing just a couple days before I go, and I didn't know I was going to get the ear scan on that date until like a week ago, and I'd booked the cottage months ago. And I'm like, I do really wonder why they're so close together. And I feel like after I get the scan, obviously I'm not going to get results right away, but I do feel like it means something. And I'm going to go to the cottage and I'm going to be very like, I don't care what everyone else does at the cottage, but I know that I'm going to be having a few moments with myself. I'm going to bring my tarot. I'm going to like really have a few moments where I'm just like soaking it all in. And yeah, you know, just soaking it in and being like manifesting it, almost just like this sort of sweetness, this healing space for me where I can just be safe. And I just really want to do some healing there. I feel it's like gonna happen. So it's just really interesting that she was saying like she literally was in this cabin on the edge of town, and I don't know, I just find this really incredible. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's really good to just like have things to look forward to and go do those things. At least say, even if you're not feeling good that day, and just being like, but at least I got to try that thing that I was going to do and was excited about. Because then, you know, I at least got to try it out, you know. But yeah, I just really want to heal there. I really do. And yeah. Yeah, I reckon it's going to be a very spiritual and magical and meaningful experience going there, especially with the 3 of my favourite people in the world, which is my daughter, my sister, and my best friend. So it's going to be some real beauty and some real memories that come out of that. And maybe it will be a little bit hard for me at times too, yeah. It might be a bit emotional in a way that I can't explain fully, but I'll try to everyone when I'm there. Like, I do worry about myself getting stressed or maybe even like a little bit edgy in a way, just because of like how sensitive I'm going to be there. But in a way, maybe it won't be like that. Maybe I will feel held there. We will see. But yeah.
The process of recording it with Aaron, but just to actually
I'd
get to the
love to
point of singing
go
these
away
songs
to
and
somewhere
performing
like
them,
that
and
and
how
write
Aaron
an
made it feel
album or
safe.
do something like that.
So this record started in South London. So I started it in South London, and a lot of the like early stuff and the demos was recorded in South London. Yeah, me and Bowen sort of started it in South London, and then it was kind of like starting to make it in fits and starts. As Bowen was on tour, I was on tour, he would go away. Mitski would come to the studio and stuff. Like people kind of came by when they were in London. Like Ethel came and did backing vocals on one of the greats. So like Bowen would go off on tour, and then I would kind of keep chipping away at the songs that we had. And then it just gets to that process with a record where you can no longer see the wood for the trees. You know, I think it was one of the greats that broke us.
Yeah, I was surprised.
That song was written in one take, but it took 3 years to finish.
Yeah. But you did it in one take?
Me and Bowen did it in one take. It's the guitar and vocal together, and the guitar and vocal are together.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I'd ever sung the song.
It's such a fuck you riff as well.
I didn't know. Yeah, I think he like had a riff, and he was like, "I've got this riff." So he just started playing the riff, and then I started singing, and then the song just happened.
Yeah.
And we always meant to re-record it, but we didn't.
Yeah, yeah.
But it made it a nightmare to produce, like an absolute nightmare, because the time signatures are all over the place. It's like speeds up and then it slows down again and then it speeds up again, and like it does time jumps. The tuning is wild. I think someone texted me like, "Oh my God, I love that key change." I was like, none of that is intentional. None of that is intentional. But it's imperfection. Like when we tried to put it in time, it lost something. When we tried to put it in tune, it lost something. So we needed an absolute wizard to come on board and to help like take that song to the transcendent level it needed to go to without taking away any of its rawness. And I think Aaron is probably the only person that could have done that. Like he just kind of got it. That is
actually really
He was like, no, there's not like replaying that needs to be done. It's like tiny, like. And I think him and his engineer Bella spent literally like days just like micro moving drums, like micro, it was tiny. But yeah, basically when I spoke to him about that track, I was like, oh, okay, like Aaron, because it's quite like a weird like project. Like it was so wild. Some of it was like so out of tune, and I was like, but we need to keep all that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
One of the greats to me, though.
Like, ugly
really
or brutal, and I was like, no, it was like an ugly and brutal experience in parts. Like we need those sounds. But I think it was a confusing record for some people, but Aaron completely understood it. He was like, no, I get this.
The fact that like Aaron was able to do that like is genuinely it can be done, and it has been done. He did it, but that would have been so time costly because of like she was saying, like the tempos are all over the place, the tuning's all this, so you have to like it's not simple. I remember having to do something like that in a very small scale, and I gave up. I actually just gave up. So that's wow. So, I gave up because it would have taken a long time.
I went out to his studio to finish it up, and it helped that like me and Bowen were like huge fans of the National, you know. So it all just kind of made sense. And yeah, I went out there and spent like a month with Aaron, kind of finishing it up and tying it together. Because there was also like I was also working with Danny Hall, so there was an electronic element. Like I'd worked with Mitski, like, but I was like with Dance Fever, because of the pandemic,
definitely,
I hadn't been able to get in a room with like one producer and just finish a whole record together. And that actually was incredibly distressing on that record. Like we were all separated, we couldn't even get to each other. Like a lot of it had to be finished remotely. I was like, I am never doing that again. Yeah. Because it left me with like I don't know if anyone else can, but I can hear in that record when the pandemic starts.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, that's that's when the pandemic started. Like, I can like hear it. And I was like, oh my God, that's where it starts. And so with me, it was like that record was about trying to make a record out of this incredibly fractured period of time where you were really isolated from each other. And I didn't get to finish it in a room with one producer. It was kind of like pulled together in lots of different ways.
But I can imagine sitting with Aaron or being with Aaron in the final stages with you and Bowen and Mitski, and you've all created this kind of, okay, it's all here. We just have to put it together.
Yeah, I was like, it's all here. We've got these incredible sounds, like these incredible people. But I just need like a focused month where we put it all together, which is now actually quite old school. It's quite like old school. Like, you know, I think almost since the pandemic, doing things remotely or finishing up is kind of like normal now.
You couldn't on a record like this.
No, it sends me crazy. I don't want to do that.
You couldn't on a record like this. I mean, just the notes back and forth to get it to keep its personality, but also get structure.
It's so crazy.
Like 6 months just to get one song into a place where it feels.
It really is crazy how the pandemic has made us significantly more independent in what we do and like isolated from each other. Like one moment or like 1 year of like this crazy thing that happened has changed the world forever. It's insane.
It was good.
I would have spent another month in upstate, and Aaron was like, it's done. It's
done.
He's like, you're already the person who spent the longest amount of time here. Like, I was like, I'm going to stay. He was like, you can go home. It's done.
But it must have been really emotional at times hearing the songs come together because, as you said at the very beginning of our conversation, it was almost a fog, a process.
Yeah, I think I was very like... I think I was really angry when I recorded. I can't quite remember. There's like 6 months where I just like, it was quite a blurry year. But I think I just remember being like really pissed off. I was like, oh, now you want me to fucking sing? After everything I've been through, now I have to sing.
And who are you talking to, yourself?
Just myself.
Yeah.
Or just like, I think I was like, it was weird. I think I was like moody about getting in the vocal booth or whatever.
I'm not surprised. I mean, this is the wrestling I feel that we've been hearing to some degree in your music, which is just this like, I want to honor this gift. I want to honor this opportunity to reach people and these words and this voice, but at the same time.
Do you know what? It was interesting. I was scared to, it was good. It was amazing. I got a little scared to push myself vocally because I thought something would break. Because when something breaks on stage, you think everything's going to break. And actually it was kind of like, but I think I did actually end up doing that, like almost like as a furious test of like my abilities, you know, and but actually then being really annoyed with myself because like, I know I'm gonna have to fucking perform this live. When you hit a note, like there's a note in Sympathy Magic, like,
Yeah.
but you're like belting full out. And as I did it, I was like, this is gonna
She's
fuck
always
me up.
thinking about it.
Well, I mean, you can have it all. I mean,
and you can have it all as well. So I do think when I was in there, I was doing it, but I was also like, future me is going to be so annoyed with this, you know, because it's going to... But do you know what? That I've actually been going back to opera training because what had started to happen was I'd started to tense up as I was hitting high notes out of fear of breaking something.
Vocally.
Yeah, and actually that's the worst thing that you can do. Yeah. And I went back to opera and she was like, everything is there. You can hit all, like, just relax. And that's been really amazing. And so performing those songs after that, like I felt like a part of me was coming back to me. You know, I was starting to trust my body again.
That fear of breaking something, do you know what that's rooted in? Like, obviously, the inability to sing would be devastating, but the fear's got to come from somewhere, right? Because it probably wasn't there when you were younger. You wouldn't...
Oh, no, I didn't care. Like, I just, like...
A few pints down the Camden Lock and you just snapped the shit out of it, right? Like,
yes, I was quite drunk. I was quite drunk, so he didn't, like... I was, like, totally, like, you know... There was this line from a song that I didn't end up using, which is like whirling dervish with a death wish. You know, I just didn't like, I didn't think about it, like the situations I put myself in or whatever, like, but that was a song about my like young self, which was like whirling dervish with a death wish. And
that's a crazy
I just didn't
line.
Like, there was a part of me that didn't really want to exist, so I had like no care for myself or whatever, but you do have this crazy like, I think I just got to an age where I'm like, oh, like life is fragile, and stuff had started to happen to me. I think it's also if you've been sort of lucky enough to have been cocooned in some way from the big tragedies of life, if they have been lucky enough to like have not encroached upon you, once you get over 35, like stuff's gonna start happening. You know, do you know what I mean? We've just got to the age where stuff starts to happen, like the big stuff, the life and death stuff. And I think in some ways it has sort of made my connection to work and performance like deeper. And in other ways I'm like, fuck, I need to start actually training. You know, I'm just like, oh, I think I have more respect for my body and what I put it through. Like I just used to not train for tour. The shows will sort it out. The first 3 shows will be tough, but then I'll be fine. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't get into this job to be like disciplined. You know, I've got no discipline really. And it's having to learn discipline as you get older in order to just like keep performing at your highest level, you know?
That's a real letting go process. The album finishes in a place, to me at least, which feels like a realization, a letting go of a preconception of what love was going to be. And that really it can exist in ways that one could never really truly have imagined when they were young and trying to sort of control the narrative, right?
Yes. I mean, and love was like, when I wrote that song, I was like, okay, so if the songs have this like terrible prescience, you know, if they have this power, if they are spells or manifestations or, you know, prayers, let this one be the one that comes true. You know, like let this one be the one that is realized in the world, not just for myself, but just for everyone, you know, just for like, so, and after an album that is so full of like desire and fury and has this like, ache, you know, ache. Like, I think the word scream is in every song in some capacity. Like, it's there, like, it's threaded through in so many ways that I wanted to end it on just this sense of like peace and resting and getting to breathe out. I think there's so much like primal sort of panting energy in some of the songs, and I wanted this to just sound like a breath out at the end of it.
I love the sense of possibility at the end of this album. It's emotional to listen to because
That's interesting.
You know, there's so much life lived in so many ways through the making of it and listening to it. But at the end, it does just feel, at least to me, like there is a lot of sort of hope and a lot of opportunity to live the life you want to live. How does it feel to you?
I think like the songs are always like 3 steps ahead of me. It's been that my whole life. It's sort of like going back to Delilah, like I'm going to be free and I'm going to be fine, but maybe not tonight. You know, it's like wrestling with addiction and but the song's kind of like you're going to be okay. Not tonight. Tonight you're in Miami.
Yeah. In a way. Remember I was saying when I reacted to the album, I was saying like, and hope definitely sounded very, very hopeful and very lovely. Was it and love actually? Yeah, it's and love, right? So I said that all, but I also said there was a little bit of something in it that just didn't feel fully trusting of it. And maybe that was actually a little bit of her present self coming through. I think I mentioned that, and I'm still not saying that's the truth, but as she's saying here, like the songs are 3 steps ahead of her, even though she knows in that moment she doesn't feel good, she knows that she will. So it is like a little bit part of her present still coming through. I don't know, but I could be wrong. It's just something I get from it.
And it's also just like, okay, maybe love is not about the chase, maybe contentment is not about the chase and achievement and, you know, the feeling like it's never quite good enough, try again. I was like, maybe surrendering to something and more like resting than running, peace is coming, you know, like, and I'm hoping that, and again, like it is like, I have a projection of a future, you know, that where I feel at peace. But I don't know.
Oh, no buts.
I'll say that.
No buts.
I don't know that because I'm just like, I wonder if it's just like this constitution thing where I'd be like, finally, yes, I made it. And like, I have a family and I'm at peace. I'm like, I need to get back on stage.
Hey.
I don't know if that's like.
Hey, I was kind of right. See, she's there. She literally's like, I don't know. You know, I don't know. There is a bit of doubt in there. God, I pick up on these things, guys.
Thing where I'd be like, finally, yes, I made it.
Suddenly really
and,
cocky about it.
I'm
like, yeah, see, I knew,
yeah. I need to get back on stage. I don't know if there's like there's a Martha Graham quote, which I've been thinking about a lot on this record, which is divine dissatisfaction.
And
that's creativity, and it's the thing that keeps us going. It's this sense that like, it just keeps propelling you forward to make more things, to make new discoveries, like constant curiosity, constant like want to evolve and change. But it does come from
it's not as black and white as
some restless spirit or something. But I'm hoping, I'm really hoping that And Love is the one that comes true next. please.
Yeah.
None of the scary ones now. Thank you. Okay, just the nice ones. Only the nice ones, just for a bit.
Yeah, I get it. That's crazy. I know, I called it. Okay, you know what? That felt so short. I think, I think we all know why it felt short. Because of how bloody long it took me to even make this video happen. That's why it feels freaking short. But it does, it feels really short. Oh god, it was so emotional though. I was like actually fully like crying and like really relatable. And I didn't really think about how it could be so relatable, I guess. Like I almost felt like a little bit afraid being so like I kept relating, didn't I? Like it kept happening and I felt a little bit like, oh my god, no, this is like, I don't know if I want to be doing that, but at the same time it was like I don't know, this video was a bit part of my healing. Me actually reacting to this was part of my own healing. And for something that she's gone through to be so horrible that she's gone through to then help heal a random person here, me, like is why sharing difficult things is so important, I think. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Oh, she's so incredible. And so relatable. Yeah. Wow. I'm so glad I watched that. It felt so quick. And she just said it all, didn't she? I wish there was more in a way. I don't know why. I just wish there was more. Ah. Super emotional. Like I know that like, after the stream and everything, I'm gonna be really like not thinking about it like too heavily or anything, but it's just like it's given me a lot to think about. I think what it's done is it's actually made me realise I've been going through trauma. Not just trauma, but like survival and like trying to navigate a new world. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, oh my gosh, they would have talked loads. Like Zane always comes across as someone that is like becomes like the artist's friend. Like he's so good at it, like the talking and like the interview. Because it's not really like it is an interview, but it's just like a conversation. He's always been amazing at it. I've actually seen Zane Lowe in person before. Really random. He was actually like DJing before I saw Muse in my home. So my hometown, Muse come from my hometown. I've said this a million times, but the band Muse come from my hometown, went to my school and everything. And they did a hometown show some years back. And Zane Lowe was the support act. So random. But it was cool. Yeah, though, but this really has shown me that she is grieving so much, right, of what she's lost and what she really wanted, but she has lost. I've also been grieving my old life and who I was before having like what I have now. But it's weird because I'm grieving it, but there's also so much like more positives about my life now than there was before as well, which almost feels like a scary thing to admit because you're like, how can gaining something so horrible and losing out on like so much breed anything positive? But it actually really has. And a lot of that is like in when she was saying she wants to look after herself more, like her singing, she wanted to go to like the opera coach to make sure she's looking after herself more. I think gaining that sort of love for yourself and care for yourself is like what you can gain from going through something terrible. And especially when your body and mind has gone through something so bad, you do start to like care more about yourself. Yeah. Yeah, well, it's not easy. Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. But I think for me, like, like I had to go through something kind of extreme to like change, if you know what I mean. I don't know. It's weird. But no, yeah, thank you. I hope that you know, it was worth all the faff at the start. I hope watching Oh god, I really do hope it was worth it, like for you guys, I mean. It was worth it for me, but I hope it was worth it for you guys. That was really, really, really powerful for me to watch. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching it with me, actually. Thank you so very much. It was really good. And I do believe I'm going to have to, obviously, it was funny, wasn't it? It was funny. But I'll definitely cut down a version for YouTube. No, I'm not going to edit it whatsoever. And remember what I said. Fucking intro. Absolutely not doing that. So, yeah. I actually know I love this setup. I feel like when I'm watching music videos, this will be good, right? So like on Patreon, I watch music videos so I can watch it on the TV. And, you know, so on Patreon and stream, I'm saying, sorry. I can watch music videos on the TV and then, like, look at the chat at the same time. So that's really cool. I'm really happy that we did this and worked it out. It's still crazy to me having two monitors. And it also means that if I ever want to do some, like, gaming as well, I'll be able to I'd be able to play it and also look at chat as well. So, yeah. All right, then. I'm going to get going now. I'm super tired and I'm a bit emotionally drained, but not in a bad way, in like a way where I feel very contemplative, if you know what I mean. I feel very like, wow, I'm realising a lot about myself and also going to give myself a lot of compassion, you know? So, yeah. Yes, have a good night, you too. Have a good night, you too. But yeah, love you all very much. And I will see you very soon because I'm going to be reacting to, well, I'm going to react to Rosalia first. No, I don't know. Yeah, I'll do Rosalia first. I'm going to do this next week. And I'm also going to react to FKA Twigs. But I've got a weekend of editing to do. That's what I've got. A weekend of editing. And also some like relaxation in between. But yeah, love you and bye.